My name is Hugo Rosa, and I am a Ph.D. student at the Center for Development Research at the University of Bonn in Germany. I think it's a very important aspect of forest conservation in general, because I'm from Brazil, and in Brazil the government has been trying to reduce deforestation for many, many years, and the results have been mixed, and I think it's important to have a different approach to what they have been doing before, which has been usually trying to do command and control actions, and a more incentive-based sort of approach, I think is a good add to the policy mix of things that are being done in this area of forest conservation. And REDD obviously integrates the whole action that have been taken in the countries into an international effort, because I think climate change is a global problem, and you cannot solve that by taking individual actions in just the countries, but it has to be an effort of everybody together. So I think it's important that you have a framework that is followed, that is joined by all the countries, so that you can reach the solutions together. I think it's part of it. I think since the problem of deforestation has multiple drivers, multiple causes, it is important to have multiple solutions as well. I think REDD is not a magic bullet. It's not going to work all the time, everywhere, to everybody. But if you are able to use the incentives generated by REDD towards the specific actors to whom REDD is relevant, is useful, it is a very important tool. It's just important to not think that REDD is going to work all the time, but it will work where it should work. Yeah, in all of them, it's a very recent thing. So in terms of actual benefits, in terms of actual reductions in deforestation, is really early to tell in most of the cases. Especially in Peru and Ecuador, which are two of the countries that I'm working in, this idea of conserving forests is, at least in terms of government policy, which is my area of work, is relatively recent. It's something it's not older than 20 years. And the idea of implementing REDD has pushed these countries into implementing things that are basic for any other type of forest conservation policy that you want to do. For example, monitoring has been something that was basically not well done in these countries before. And the whole payments for environmental services REDD debate has pushed the government into action, into improving monitoring, improving satellite imaging, improving field monitoring of things. So I think REDD, even if it's not showing results yet, I think is one of the drivers for an improvement in the conditions that will lead these countries to eventually in the future do some good policies for reducing deforestation. Well, challenges, there are many. It's really hard to talk about all of them. I'll talk just from my side, the side that I'm concerned with, which is government politics, like how governments implement policy. And I feel from my side, there are two things that are like really central, that at least I can pick in these two, like it's a bunch of them. No? But the two that I feel that are more relevant are the first is financing and support from higher levels of policy, because environment is sadly not the main priority of cash-strapped developing country governments. They want to reduce poverty, they want to improve access to sanitation, they want to do whatever, many other types of social policy that come before prioritizing environmental issues. And that comes together with the fact that REDD is done into forested areas which have low population densities, and they don't have too many voters. So this is not where the politicians who have a short-term thinking, this is not where they're going to divert their resources to. So this is a challenge to get the resources, and that's why REDD is cool, because you can get resources from outside and adding up to the budgets of these governments. This is one point that I think is relevant, and the other that I'm highlighting now is interaction between institutions inside of the governments. Because I feel, like I said, like everybody probably told you before, REDD is deforestation is a multi-cause problem. There's too many things that are causing deforestation. And it's not just the environment ministry who's going to be able to solve everything. You're going to have cooperation with the agriculture ministries, you have to have cooperation with the transport ministries, mining, basically everybody who has some stake in the economic development of those regions will have to step in, and this is not happening. There's a huge lack of cooperation between government agencies, and while it doesn't happen, it's going to be hard to have REDD really working as it should happen. If it's only an environmental agenda, it has to be like a multi-sector agenda. Otherwise, it's going to be very complicated to get REDD working. I think REDD Plus has a future because I feel, at least it's a very optimistic answer to be honest, but I feel that there's a global movement towards higher environmental consciousness in many places. It kind of started like in the European countries. They're thinking about how do we do something to save the forest because we cut all of ours, but we have some in other places, so we should like help them to conserve theirs. This is getting slowly into the consciousness in the countries as well, and from the consciousness moving towards institutions as well. And because of that, I see progress. There's a lot of work to do. And I think everything that's related to saving forests, protecting biodiversity, and especially climate, which is like the hottest environmental topic today, all of this have a future. And like I said, REDD, I see as part of it. The problem, like I told you before, the problem is some people see REDD as a solution for every sort of issue on forest conservation. It is not. You have to use REDD in some points. In some points, you have to have a command and control policy, go to the place, charge fines, do old school conservation, protect areas, and this kind of things that are different from REDD. But I think REDD, as a part of a policy mix of forest conservation policies, I think it does have a future, definitely.